Good evening and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. This is Naomi, the How To Chick, and I am back. It is July, and tonight we are talking about surviving summertime. Good evening. And if this is your first time catching one of my lives, then I will introduce myself. My name is Naomi. I go by the How To Chick, and I'm a child of God, a wife, a mom, an attorney, coach, mentor, speaker, and author. I go live on Wednesday nights on or around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, running a little bit late this evening to talk about life, love, relationships, but most importantly, the relationship that we have with God and ourselves. But tonight, honey, tonight I'm here for the working moms, the moms who barely survived the end of the semester and now are trying to make lunches, answer emails, remember sunscreen, find missing water bottles, pay for camps. Let me say that again, pay for camps. Pay for the aftercare for camps because these camps are outrageous and audacious. How are you going to have camp from 9 to 1? What am I supposed to do from 2 to 5? Pack the swimsuits, sign the waivers, keep the house from falling in around your ears, get to work on time, and still be kind to everyone. All of this before 8:30 in the morning. Summertime sounds cute. People say, oh, summer is for rest. Because, yeah, but working moms say rest where? Because summer for me, I'm not even gonna lie, it feels like regular life, but extra forms, extra fees, a different schedule, extra driving, extra snacks, and even more theme days. I thought theme days were reserved for those horrible spirit weeks. So tonight I'm here to talk about surviving summertime. And I'm just gonna tell you things that I've learned over the past 3 summers because I didn't think I was gonna make it the first year that my youngest was not like in daycare, which daycare is 6 to 6. I loved it. These are 3 tips to just survive the summer. And I was struggling with what I was going to come back with because I have I have a series planned, but I want to do the series in September. And so for July, I'm like, what can I talk about? What I'm talking about is what I'm surviving. And these are things that I've learned in the past 10 days and 3 years. 1, prepare what you can, release what you cannot control. I need you to protect your peace. I've come on before and said, I get the moms who are walking around with children with one galosh on and one croc, wearing short sets that are 2 sizes too small because I now have children who refuse to throw away their old clothes. The Bible, the world, the church, not all aligned on what wisdom and care for your family looks like. It is so important to remember, just protect your peace and do what's best for your household. Do what's best for your household. If that child wants to wear the same 3 pair of sweatpants for the whole summer, that saves you money. Let them. If that child, the other one, now wants to eat nothing but Ritz crackers and tuna salad for the whole summer, you know what? Throw some celery in there. You got a vegetable, let them. And I am still serving my balanced meals at dinner, but we're not just managing our children. We're not just managing tasks. We're also managing transitions. This period where school ends, where life begins, 90 summers were very different. I don't remember summer camps and drop offs and all of these things. But what I do know is that the transition is where the stress lies. And it's okay to not do things perfectly. Schedules change, drop off times change, bedtimes have changed, pickup locations have changed. Someday the kids need to take lunch, and other days they are having a pizza party. One camp needs a towel, another camp needs sneakers every day, another camp wants sunscreen, bug spray, everything, right? So the first survival strategy you have to have is, what do you actually need? Period. Perfection says everything has to go exactly to plan, everything has to be labeled. And you know what? In my mind, I was that type A mom. My kids were going to match and everything was going to be laid out. But guess what? My kids have the same executive functioning levels that I do, which is to say very low. And so preparation says I'm going to make my day easier by being consistent. I'm going to figure out what I need. I'm going to do that. And for my kids, they lose a lot of stuff. So, and I've talked about this before. I know there are families that have like 5 and 6 and 10, water bottles that people can choose from. If I do that, all of the water bottles will be gone. Somehow, when everybody has just one, the water bottles come home. Don't ask me how that works. I don't know how that works. You have to do what works for your house. But preparation says, let me just make tomorrow easy for myself. That might mean packing your camp bags the night before. It should mean that the kids are doing it if that's what's easier for you. It might mean freezing sandwiches or prepping lunches for the week on Sunday night, putting bug spray, sunscreen, wipes, and extra clothes in a little bucket in your trunk. I don't do a family command center. Everything is on my phone. But the one preparation that you can't get away from is spiritual, because I'm telling you, when your routines go nuts, you start to forget the most important part. Um, it's important to count the cost. It's important to recognize what your capacity is. So prepare yourself mentally and spiritually for your days, and that will make your days easier. So, one, preparation is key. Sometimes surviving summer just requires sitting down. And number two is count the cost. Every year in February, my husband and I spent some time deciding what we're going to do for summer camps. And for the past few years, we've gone very basic. Why? Because it's not just about the financial outlay. How much time and energy do I have to do drop-offs 45 minutes away just because this camp looks interesting? I still have to work. Are our kids going to die? Probably not. And I know that this is, again, this is not for the type A moms. I used to think I would be or was one. I've released that because I have to take care of myself first. How much energy am I actually going to have to do this? What days are going to be tight? Do I have contingency plans? If you have a spouse that can do pickup, a grandma, an auntie that can do pickup. A wise woman does not wait until she's overwhelmed to set a plan. Summer survival depends on your systems more than your strength. You don't have to be super mom. You just need a system that works for your house. In my house, we have a lunch system, a laundry system, and we have transportation. We know what days, my husband and I know what days we're doing things. We also have a where are your shoes system, right? If you have young kids, you understand that. The most important thing for my house is I'm not the whole system. Make the list, set the alarms, lay out the clothes, ask the questions early, and do what works for you and your life. I'm saying this for my travel team sports moms who are stressed financially, stressed logistically, stressed emotionally, and who do not have any time for themselves. It is so important that you count the cost before you say yes to certain things, because your child gets into it. They really like it or they're really good at it. And then you feel like you have to dedicate your entire life to it. If it doesn't fit, right? If it does not fit, if you have a high stress job, if your spouse travels a lot for work, if your finances can't support doing this for multiple years, counting the cost means asking the questions early and figuring out what's actually going to work for you and your family, taking it seriously, and making sure that when you make the decision, you're able to commit to that decision. Preparation will not remove every problem, but it reduces your unnecessary chaos. So count the cost. Lastly, release what you cannot control. No matter how much you plan, no matter how much you budget, no matter how much you count the cost, something is going to go wrong. Things are going to be forgotten. Lunch boxes will go missing. Camp emails will go unread. Kids will go to school without their field trip form, without a waiver. Somebody is going to have a meltdown. And sometimes that somebody may be you. And this is where Philippians 4:6 becomes a lifeline. Listen, be careful for nothing, but within everything, with prayer and supplication, make your requests known unto God. And the peace of God that passes all understanding will keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. That scripture doesn't say we're not going to feel pressure. It tells us what to do with the pressure. Pray through it. Talk to God about it. Hand it over before it takes over. If you had a hard time getting out the door, don't try to go into your job without taking that moment to sit with God. Because we don't just feel a pressure to be perfect and to show up in a certain way when it comes to how we present our children to the world. We feel that pressure to be present. So if you've had a meltdown and you've snapped at them in the car because shoes, because sunblock, because somebody left a water bottle, you're going to feel that emotional weight will follow you through the day if you don't stop, if you don't pause. I do every time the kids get out of car at drop off. Sometimes we have music playing, usually not. I tell my kids mommy enjoys the blessed sounds of silence in the morning. They know this. But even if we did have some music playing or something going on, I turn it off and I have my quiet time with God in that 15 to 18 minutes that it takes me to get from camp door to my office. Why? Because in order for me to show up well and be present at work, not be rehashing what happened in the drive through, not beating myself up about yelling at the kids yet again, because every single morning nobody can find X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter how much you plan and prepare because it's right there in front of them and they still can't find it. It's okay to recognize that you're a fallible person. Summer often intensifies the pressure because of the lack of routines, but we cannot control everything. We don't control traffic. We don't control the camp policies. You can't control the kids at camp, whether your kid is going to like the camp or the counselors or every activity, expense, or even how other people are going to judge how you show up with your parenting. But you can control how quickly you return to equilibrium by the time that you're spending in prayer. You can control whether you pause before snapping on your kids, going off, right? On that person in the YMCA office who neglected to tell you that there was an additional $50 fee per week per child for the field trip. You can control whether you ask for help instead of silently resenting everyone around you when everything changes and it seems like it's on you. You can control whether you speak life over your household, even when your mornings are a mess. Some of us have to release guilt. Guilt because your child is in camp while you work. Guilt because you can't take every summer Friday off and you don't have the money to go away for a big vacation. Your lunches aren't Pinterest worthy. Another mom seems better, more put together, more organized. Maybe her minivan is perfectly spotless. Like, we have to release judgment of ourselves. Release it. Whatever your child is doing for summer, if they are safe and they are loved, it can be a blessing. Whatever your career profession is, if you feel valued, you're contributing and you're using your skills, it can be a blessing for others and for you. Providing for your family is honorable. Your children don't need a perfect summer. They need a grounded mother. So for the rest of the summer, I want to encourage you. Psalms 55:22 says, "Cast your burdens on the Lord and he will sustain you." You don't have to impress God and you don't have to explain it to him perfectly. He knows your heart. He sees your circumstance and your understanding. So cast it. Give him the burdens of things you can't fix. Give him the burdens of the things that didn't go right. Give him the burdens of the costs that you did not count. Because some of us are trying to be mother and God for our families, but Jesus is the only one. So we're just called to love our kids, guide them, keep them, provide for them, and nurture them to the best that we can, but we can't control every outcome. So we prepare what we can, we count the cost, and we release what we can't control. Protect your peace this summer, protect your purpose. And summertime can be stressful, but with God, all things are possible. Give it to him. Give him everything. And understand that the word says, "Come unto me, all you who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." You're more than an employee. You're more than a mom. You're more than a chauffeur and a cook and a counselor. You are a whole human. They that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. The promise is renewal. God knows our strength runs low. He says, "My strength is made perfect in your weakness." And he doesn't shame us for needing that renewal. Protect small pockets of your peace. Find time for you. The kids will be okay. Maybe your house won't be perfectly clean or even remotely quiet until August. but you can protect your peace. You can rest, and you can recognize that perfection is never the goal. Grounded, centered, present is the goal. Your peace has to be protected because otherwise chaos will always volunteer to fill the space. Go with God. Your children are watching not the things that happen, but how you react to them. So in this season, protect your peace, count the cost, and trust God to take care of you, to provide for you, and to fill in the gaps. You will get rest. And your children are going to learn more from watching you protect your peace, take care of yourself, and respond graciously, even in the midst of chaos, than they would ever learn by having the perfect summer where you could do everything that you think you ought to do for them. Afford every vacation, buy everything, somehow magically find the time to ensure they go to all the best educational and recreational activities. They don't need to see you do and accomplish things and spend money. They need to see you depend on God. They need to hear you say, Lord, I need your help today. They need to hear you apologize when you were a little sharp. They need to see you laugh and find joy even in difficult spaces. Rest is available and peace is possible even when life is busy. How you protect your peace affects the atmosphere of your home, your relationships, and your purpose. Remember, God's using even this season to shape your season and strengthen you. So, to every working mom, whether you're married or single, who's trying to survive summertime, here's the encouragement. You're doing more than logistics. You're building a life. You're covering your children. You're stewarding your home, and you're showing up. And God sees you. He cares for you. He will restore you. Protect your peace. All right. Have a good evening. I hope that this was helpful. I'm going to have a great summer, even though this first week has been like a little bit wonky, but I don't do well with transitions with my systems. So I'll check back in next week. But over the past 3 years, this has been my system and it's worked. And so I encourage you to give it a try. Count the cost, prepare a plan, and show your children what grace to themselves looks like by giving yourself grace. Remember, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Choose wisely. Good night.